Welcome to The Good Pod, where today we're talking The Good Wife, Season 2, Episode 15, Silver Bullet. I'm one of your hosts, Jason Reed. With me, as always, the one, the only, Marissa Garza. Marissa, you good?
I'm good. I'm feeling some Diane Lockhart vibes today, so you better watch out, Jason. I am large and in charge. Nice to meet you.
Yeah. Like Diane likes to do.
Yes.
Yeah. So listen, we love our Diane-centric episodes, and this is definitely one of those. We get our best bud Kurt back. This is the first time. It's the first time seeing Kurt, and we're 15 episodes into season 2. The first time in season 2 seeing Kurt. It's been a minute since Kurt's been around, so it's very interesting to get back to Kurt.
Kurt is on every show, at all the times.
Yeah.
He's everywhere.
Sure. He's the main NCIS dude now. He's Mr. NCIS,
and he was on
current
time, and he was he was everywhere. He was on the West Wing. He was Gary Cole. He was on Suits at some point. He's everywhere. He will get that paycheck. He will go. He will act. He will deliver. He will cash it. He's on it.
He don't mess around. And he rarely misses. If Gary Cole's in something, you're like, love it. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. So before we deep dive into the episode, we want to remind you some free and easy ways you can support this podcast. Anywhere you are listening or watching, you can review, rate, and subscribe to this podcast. If you're on Apple Podcasts, you can leave us a written review for 5 stars. We love that. You can also, if you're on Spotify, there is the only rating there, so you can rate us 5 stars there. Anywhere there is a rating system, rate us the highest. That's all I can say. If you're on YouTube, hit the follow button, hit the thumbs up. We love that as well. And if you just want to talk to us about our show, the show Good Wife, you can always email us at thegoodpodfeedback@gmail.com if you want to talk with us about whatever you want to talk about on the show. Speaking of rating and reviewing, we got a couple of reviews we want to talk about this week. Last week on the Elsbeth pod, we talked about one of our reviews from the reviewer Vapor Blade Patron, who had talked about the fact that they enjoyed our Elsbeth coverage, hadn't watched Good Wife yet, and we got an update from Vapor Blade Patron today, because the whole review is enjoying the Elsbeth discussions. You all nailed your season 1 predictions, planning to give the Good Wife a chance once I'm caught up on Elsbeth, and now they have updated the review to say update, hooked on the Good Wife now.
Yes.
Vapor Blade Patron. I don't know how long it's going to take you to get through all the other episodes of Good Wife till you get to this episode. Welcome to the Good Wife family.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, I told you last week, if you came on the Good Wife side, you're going to love it. You're going to enjoy it. And here you are. Welcome to the fam. Yeah. So congrats to a new old show that you found. I also want to talk about another review. It's a 5-star review. And we actually got a 4-star review, breaking our perfect 5 stars. It's a 4-star, and I won't read the whole review because I only read 5-star reviews. Basically, this review said they like the show. The opinions are okay. They like us.
Yeah.
The only problem is the reduction of a star came down to we say they were interesting too much, Marissa. Did you know that?
I did not know that. I mean, I listened to the podcast more times than I think because I edit it, so I hear it. Mm-hmm. I did not know we did this. So thank you for bringing this to our attention. It's very interesting.
Apparently we say the word interesting a lot.
Yeah.
And to this reviewer, Llama9342, I want to make a deal with you. Llama9342. Neither Marissa or I, this whole episode, will say the word interesting. If we can go the whole episode without saying interesting, you have to up your rating to 5 stars.
Starting from after the segment, when we get into the
because I said we said interesting a lot this segment, but after we talk about this review, we can't say interesting the whole episode. So Llama9342, I'm going to assume, because I can't talk to you right now, I'm going to assume that we have a deal. Okay, deal? Shake on it.
Yeah.
If you're watching, I'm shaking my hand. So Llama, if we can avoid saying interesting, you will up your stars to 5. Okay. Deal.
Starting now.
No more I words. Okay. No more.
I didn't say that specific I word. That's specific.
We can say other I words. You can use the word I. We can talk about our opinion saying I. But we can't say that word. It's like Pee-wee's Playhouse, right? We say that word.
I got you.
Alarms will go off and all that good stuff. So let's be mindful, Marissa. You and I. Let's think. Let's try and exclude that word from our vocabulary.
I'm ready. I'm ready for the challenge.
Apparently, we say it a lot, so we're gonna have to really watch ourselves here, because I think we probably say it without even us knowing it.
This is true.
It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be a tough task.
Well, we do have a lot to talk about in this one.
But there's so many captivating, fascinating,
absolutely
cool things happening in this episode.
This is a fantastic episode.
Yes, fantastic. So many great things happening. So many things that pique my curiosity that I would like to know more about.
Yeah, there you go. I like it. Should we start it? Let's
start. I know, Marissa, if I know you, and I feel like I know you,
you do.
You're going to want to start with your favorite character, the one that this whole episode, not this whole episode, but a lot of this episode was based around. The one, the only, the fascinating, dynamic Diane Lockhart.
Yeah, that was good. Diane is large and in charge right now. Like she is on it. She's like running this meeting. She's like, listen, do not go to Derek for anything. This is our case. This is everybody's case. This is the thing. Listen to me. I am in charge. So she is on her game.
She was talking and she was like, don't look at Derek. Don't look at your father. Look at me. Like, I'm the one talking to you right now. So that was funny.
And that, she's like I said, A+ game until one Kurt McVeigh walks through the door and all of her words leave her. She cannot speak any longer. She's very distracted.
The love of my life is walking through the doors.
But we talked about how Gary Cole delivers, and he delivered this entrance. So he was here, and also something. I'm here.
He's gonna deliver something to Diane later in this episode. He's gonna deliver for show.
Yeah, like
our guy is on it.
He's on it. So yes,
he's on Diane as well. Like
Kurt is back and he's being sued for $36 million. And so who else does he go to but Diane to help him with this situation? What happened was a life sentence was overturned and revoked on a case that Kurt had worked on. Kurt thinks that there was an error by the cops and this is like what was going on. And Diane's, no, this is because he was innocent and the cops set him up. So you can see like how the two of these people, their ideologies will look at the same fact and come out with like different things, which I really love about this relationship throughout the entire course of the series and the next one. But Diane's like trying to get the best of Kurt here, and Kurt's, my testimony supported the lab's findings, so I'm being sued for this situation. Diane's, I have to think about it. And Kurt's like, okay, fine, you don't see it the way I do. It's just like, no, like we benefited from this error that happened in this case, so I have to think about it for the sake of my business, and I really do really need, I'm not brushing you off.
Kurt gets all pissy and he like starts getting his like, all right, fine, you're not gonna help me. I'm out of here. Like you're making me suffer because I ghosted you. Fine, I'll be out of here. Diane's like, no, this is not about us, my dude. Like, this isn't about the fact that we haven't talked for a while. You may have ghosted me, whatever. It's not about that. I'm being a businesswoman here. I gotta think about me and my business. This isn't about my loin to your loin. It's not about that. It's about the business. It's about the firm. So
this part is. But the next sentence she says is not.
For real. You like, now the business is out of it. Now the business is done. Let's get into personal.
You should have called me. Yeah, I know. I should have.
And we haven't seen Kurt in a while. And they actually give us a reason for that in this, like in the episode. Like we didn't know whether or not Kurt and Diane were still seeing each other. Just the fact that we hadn't seen Kurt, but now we're knowing, no, Kurt has basically ghosted her. He went to some case, saw her when he came back from the case, and he didn't. Yeah. He basically ghosted her, as the kids say. You got ghosted. She's, you didn't call me. What up with that? And Kurt, for his part, doesn't apologize. Yeah, my bad. He doesn't really give a good reason why. He just, I didn't.
That's like Kurt's like, my life is mine. Don't intrude on my life. So I'm just going to tell you I didn't, and I'm sorry.
Kurt, we were rooting for you. Kurt.
I still am. Always will. This character by the name of Tommy comes in to visit Diane. Did Tommy look familiar to you, Jason, at all? Have you seen him before?
Tommy is one of those guys that you've seen. He's as one of our commentators said to us. You guys talking about character actors. This is what you're talking about. Okay. Yeah. When you say I've seen that guy somewhere, like those are character actors. Those are people that are never really stars of things, but you have seen them in every show everywhere. And this guy, Tommy, I think probably most notably for me, if you're a Better Call Saul fan, like I know Marissa and I are, like Tommy from Better Call Saul. He was a big part of that show. And he's also, as I did research into him, I was like, oh yeah, he was in Shameless.
Yep.
I remember him from that. He's in the Law and Order universe as 6 different characters, like 3 defense attorneys. I think he's been a judge at some point. He is all over the Law and Order universe, because that universe, if you're familiar with that universe, they reuse actors like you wouldn't.
Oh yeah.
Like not a lot of actors are the same character when they come back. Like it's like that. Was that guy a victim in the other episode? But now he's a judge. I don't know how this came to be. Don't worry about it. It's just Law and Order. It's just Dick Wolf. He knows he's doing. So yeah, Tommy's something familiar if you watch like any like these type of shows.
And he is the lawyer for the person whose life was overturned.
Yeah, Jason Beltran.
Beltran. Yes. Yeah. Oh, your name's in this episode too.
Oh, Jason. Kins. I see you, Kins. Thinking of me retroactively. I see you.
So great. Yeah, so he's representing Jason Beltran, and he's, hey, Diane, I'm so disappointed that you're the person who's like handling this. I can't believe you'd be representing Kurt. This goes against everything you stand for. She's like, yeah, what about you? What are you doing this for? And he's like, if I get a reward on Kurt, then that'll scare the state's attorney and we'll get into settling more. Like, this is good for me. Yeah. And I just love how Diane says goodbye to Tommy in this scene. This is pure Christine Baranski. You could take this goodbye delivery and put it on any character she's ever done. Like, this is just goodbye. She's just like, definitely Tommy, good -bye. It's not goodbye.
Yeah, Tommy doesn't even hear her. Tommy can't even hear her. She still says the name. She's goodbye later. And listen, you would think anyone that has gone up against Diane, anyone that has talked to Diane, it's the same thing with Will. You should know, if you want Diane to not do something, don't tell her she shouldn't be doing it.
At this point, she has decided. Right?
Yeah. Like, that's a great way to make sure that they do that thing, which is to tell them they should be doing that thing. Oh, you telling me I shouldn't do it? So I'm definitely going to do it now, just to spite your ass. You should know, if you've had any dealings with Diane or with Will, because Will is the same exact way, that is the bar none way for them to actually do something. It's for you to tell them they shouldn't do it. He should have just kept his mouth shut. He shouldn't even visit her and threaten her like that, because that just got her hackles up and ensured that she would take the case.
Yeah, she was like on the fence, and he said those things. He was like, thanks for helping me make my decision. Goodbye. Yeah. That was it. Will is a little worried about the situation, because it's really hard to ignore the vibes, right? Can't really not see what's happening here. And he is, okay, Alicia, I need you to babysit Diane here in this situation. Go beyond this case. But then also, when Alicia walks into the case, he's like, how you doing? What's going on with
Will saw Kurt and Diane's office. He's like, oh, shit. This is not going to be good. Because we'll talk about Bond later, but Will had just come from a bad meeting with Bond, and he like walks into this Kurt and Diane. And he's like, this is not the time for Diane to be distracted, because in Will's mind, Will's like, Diane looks like Kurt, like I look at Alicia. So this is not good. She's gonna be off her game. She's gonna be trouble. She's gonna have her feelings mixed up in this. So yeah, like you said, he basically sends Alicia in to babysit Diane, and Alicia walks in and Diane is, oh my god, really? Will is sending you in to babysit me? That's what we have going on here? Ugh.
Yeah, it was so great, because she like looks in the hallway, looks at Will, and eye roll. Again, if they gave Emmys for eye rolls, Christine Baranski, top.
Yeah, eye rolls and seething looks. Like, it's
so good.
Christine Baranski has it all. Yeah.
So good. As with any case, there comes a time for Kalinda to do some exposition where she tells us what's going on or what happened at the crime scene. Turns out there was a bank robbery and there was a shootout and 4 robbers were killed and a cop was killed and Jason Beltran was arrested for killing the cop. And Diane tells Kurt, okay, the best way for us to get out of this, the best strategy we have here is for you to admit that you made a mistake. And this, if you know anything about Kirk McVeigh, will only take cases he knows are right. Like, he is only going to, he's all about the facts. He runs perfect cases. He is like, to ask Kurt to admit that he made a mistake is like, Kurt's even out at this point. He's, look, I can't do this.
Kurt is basically, listen, I never make a mistake. So for you to tell me to go on the stand and say I made a mistake would be me lying on the stand. I'm not going to do that. So you got to figure something else out. Because it's like a domino effect. Like, all right, first of all, I can't sit here and say that I made a mistake because I never make mistakes.
Right.
So
because I'm Kurt McVeigh, and that doesn't happen.
Yeah. They're like, but Kurt, you could have made mistakes. No, I did not make a mistake. I never make a mistake. With whatever evidence I was given, the conclusion I came off of was the right one. So I don't know what to tell you. I'm not going to sit on the stand and say I made a mistake because that ain't Kurt McVeigh. That ain't me. I don't make mistakes, baby. That's not what I do. So you're going to have to do something else around here because that's not what I do. Bye. Like he literally pieced out. Like if that's all you got, I'm out of here. Yeah. I guess I'll be paying $36 million because I ain't saying that I made a mistake. Deuces.
Yeah. And at that point, Diane's like, I knew this was going to happen. I knew this is how it's going to go. So Kalinda, go find that mistake. And Alicia, if you have to be on this case, go help Kalinda.
Go help Kalinda. Like she literally like waves for like, go help Kalinda or whatever. If you have to be here, that's what you'll do. And I like Kalinda's like, so what if I can't find a mistake? And Diane's there's got to be one because basically the crime scene tech falsified evidence and Kurt went along with that evidence. So there has to be a mistake. Like I know he says he couldn't make a mistake, but there's gotta be one. So go find it.
Yes. During this, we don't get a lot of resolution to these little plot points with Kalinda, but this is phone call number 1 that Kalinda gets from a man. The only thing we know from last episode is that Kalinda has a husband. So I'm assuming that's who's calling, but we don't really get any like resolution.
And we also hear we also hear in the beginning of this episode that Blake is missing. No one knows where Blake is. Blake's not reporting to work. So it, like you said, it's either the husband or it's Blake. Who knows?
Alicia and Kalinda head on over to the state's attorney's office to watch footage with Carrie, who is being the worst version of Carrie he could ever be. He's like completely icing Alicia out of any conversation. Alicia's like, so like the bank is here, right? Like in the scenario, the bank is here. And Carrie does not answer the question. And then he says, I just was considering Mrs. Florrick's fine question. That's come on, Carrie. Come on.
The only reason I'm helping you guys is because Childs told me to, because once Beltran finishes with you guys, he's gonna come after us next. So that's the only reason I'm helping you, not because like I have any loyalty to you. That's the only reason I'm here doing this. Okay. He's doing his Carrie thing. Like he literally stares at Alicia when Alicia asks him a question. I'm not gonna answer your question. Like basically what he's saying. Hey Kalinda, all right, you two. Like, all right, bury the hatchet. What hatchet? I don't know what you're talking about.
And he's the only one holding this hatchet. Like,
well, because he lost. Like the loser usually holds the hatchet in the burying the hatchet moments.
They've had interactions, but it's not like this is the first time they've worked together since she got the position.
They haven't had any positive interactions either, though. Like all their interactions have been usually adversarial, except for there's the masseuse case where he helped our people and they talked a little bit. But any other time they've ever talked, this is like very, very adversarial relationship. So this is the first time that Carrie and Alicia are going to be working together on the same side, even if just for a little bit. So Carrie's being a little baby, like Carrie likes to do sometimes. I have information. I'm not going to tell you what the information is because I don't like you, Alicia.
Very Carrie. Can you help me with this, Jason? Because this was a little hard to follow, as per usual with the stuff. Okay, so they're reviewing the footage, and the takeaway here is that Kurt determined that only Beltran could have fired the bullet that killed the cop, right? Like at this point in the story, that's where we're at. Okay.
Because we see the security footage, and it's all very grainy, and you can't really make out really anyone, but we know who Beltran is. We've identified this is Beltran on the video, and the only way that this bullet could have ended up where it ended up is if Beltran fired it from his position. He was the only person in his position, in his area, so it had to come from that position. That was the only reason that bullet went through the cop and hit whatever wall was behind the cop. So Kurt used all that information, found a bullet that would have, from the knowledge Kurt had, put that out there, from the knowledge that Kurt had, he determined that bullet that he found and that trajectory matched where Beltran was. So using that, he said Beltran fired it because he's the only person in that area that was in that area at the time. So he's the guilty party, and that's what they used to convict Beltran.
Okay. Thank you. Because it gets a little murkier as we go along. So I just wanted to make sure we established where we are at this point. So to help Kurt out, we need to get a ballistics expert on the stand to say Kurt knows his stuff, because I am also one of these people. And this is always like entertaining when people try to out ballistics expert Kurt McVeigh, because one, Kurt's ego is larger than like the world. Like he has a very large ego. And so like he's like, these guys really, like he's rolling his eyes, like he doesn't know. And he's an Asian man who is very passionate about what he's talking about and very dramatic in how he's presenting things. And Kurt's, I gotta go. I can't really listen to this anymore. And he calls him out. The dude's like, no, you don't think I'm worthy of you. He's, I think you're like pushing this like ancient Chinese thing. And you could see Diane's eyes roll back. And I like what the guy says back to him, because Kurt's, I think you're doing all this to cover up for lack of ability. And the guy's like, yeah, my lack of ability is willing to help you. So what are you going to do, bro?
I Love You in Chicago comes out. My lack of ability.
It happens.
Man. Yes, but like Kurt, like they have two experts in there, and the first expert, I forgot what he said, but Kurt was just like, his eyes were like stuck up in the top of his head from rolling them so much. Kurt was like, oh my god, this freaking guy. And the Asian man is kind of, you think I'm bullshit, and Kurt, like you said, Kurt basically was like, yeah, I do. Yeah, buddy, this bullshit's the bullshit you got, so you got to roll with it.
You got to do it. And then we see Diane and Kurt in the barn, and Kurt's barn, things are gonna happen. Kurt's barn,
where the magic happens, baby.
Diane's trying to like
those hay bales gonna work out, baby.
Again, I don't know where in the area this is. I really want to know where anyway. Diane's trying to convince Kurt, hey, you don't have to say you were wrong. You could just say you were 80% sure. It doesn't have to be like a lie, and okay. And she acknowledges that this is hard for Kurt to do. And then all of a sudden, we see this, like, this is a tenement of Diane's character. But this is the first time we see this, which is really interesting. Diane is like this very like outspoken, left-leaning woman, would be against guns and all things. But there's a gun on the wall that she really wants to go check out. So she like saunters over. She has an interest in weapons. Like, this is not the first time that she picks up like different weapons, but she has an interest in weapons. And Kurt is like looking, oh, Diane's interested in a gun. I'm interested in Diane being interested in a gun.
Listen, I've never gotten.
He makes this move.
I've never gotten hot and bothered watching people like mess with guns. But I was watching this. Oh my god! Like, they're both like touching the trigger together, and he's like touching her hand, touching the trigger. I'm like, oh my god!
He like comes perpendicular to her to show her how to use the gun. Like at the beginning, it's just like. From the start, this is masterclass in chemistry between actors. So good. And then, yeah, let me show you how to use it. And not like in the cheesy, let me show you how to use a baseball bat, or like it was different. But the outcome was the same, because he basically pulls her up against his body and puts her head like right there. Can't sleep.
You can feel his breath on her, like on the nape of her neck, on her ear. He's like talking to her. He's like, oh, we can't do this. You're my client. I can't. I'm your lawyer. We can't sleep together. I haven't signed the paper yet, so. What it do, baby? What it do?
So great, because we don't see anything, right? We just see the aftermath of it. Like Diane's hair is all over it. She's making her way out. Kurt's like half dressed, and then he's, Miss Lockhart, the retainer agreement. And she's, did you sign it? No. We're back at it. Like, we're just
bruh. The stamina of this man in his 60s to go again so soon. I'm like, Kurt, teach me your ways.
I have to tell you, it's like, when I was younger and I watched this, I don't think I appreciated it as much as I do now, because I am not married and Diane is not married. And I'm just like, if Diane can get a Kurt, I can still do this. It's okay.
It's never too late. I was like, Kurt, you dog, you ready to go again already? Damn. But he's like, yeah, I still haven't signed it. And then Diane's, oh, really? Like, she turns back around, like, time to go again, baby. I was like,
drops the jacket. She's ready. She's ready. Then it's time for Kurt to be on the stand.
That's always going to be a wild ride when Kurt's on the stand. You know, when Kurt's on the stand, it's about to be some fun.
First, Tommy is questioning him and, hey, did you ever meet the lab tech? Because the defense has to prove, or not the defense, but Tommy has to prove that like Kurt was in collusion with the lab tech for this to happen. Yeah. So he's, hey, did you ever meet the lab tech? He's, no, I just talked to her on the phone. I know she's being tried for what she did in terms of falsifying evidence. He's, yeah, did you change your findings after you talked to her? He's, no. And then there's a need for an objection. And we see who the judge is in this one, none other than Jerry Stiller.
I was shocked. I was like, whoa, Jerry Stiller? You could have given me 1,000 guesses on who the judge could be. I was like, I never would have got Jerry Stiller. And Jerry Stiller brought his Jerry Stillerness to this judge role. because this judge is falling asleep on the, what do you call it, on the bench, whatever you call it.
Yeah,
he's so funny in this. Like, he's not paying attention. He's falling asleep. So good.
He's so good because then, like, later his character changes a little bit. Like, he's just so good. I just was like, Jerry Stiller. Oh, and also I love that you got paid to fall asleep. It was great.
Yeah.
And then the line of questioning here goes to Kurt's involvement in the Tea Party. Okay. Now, watching this in 2025, again, I know I say this a lot. I remember being terrified of the Tea Party and like what it was. And I did not know how terrified I probably should have been, because this is like the start of the situation. And he's basically saying, isn't the Tea Party racist? Isn't this what they like formed to do? Isn't that you standing next to a racist sign at a Tea Party rally? And Tommy is also trying to take little digs at Diane by saying Mrs. Lockhart instead of Ms. Lockhart, doing all this stuff, and ends up asking Kurt, like, how many Black people have you testified against? And it turns out to be 89, and Kurt has only testified against 22 white people. So in the Tommy's mind, his client never had a chance.
Looks like I think that Kurt does not have the numbers. It feels like Kurt would have the numbers down. I like how he didn't have the numbers. He's like, I'm sure. And like you said, it's 89 and 22, that doesn't really say. I know that the sensationalism of it is that, yes, Kurt has put more Black people in jail than white people, but that also has to do with our terrible justice system.
Yes, okay? Exactly.
It says more about the justice system than it says about Kurt. But I understand the sensationalism of what that looks like to a jury.
And that's the lawyer's job, right? Is to really to exploit the fact. Like Will talks about this all the time. Like you have to take the fact that you have and make it work for you.
Make it sexy. Make it interesting.
Yes.
Make it fascinating. Make it compelling. Gripping. Shit.
That was thrilling.
Very thrilling. Very cool. Very awesome.
Also, what was awesome was the fact that Diane was up next, and I forget what she said, but I put in my notes, racists are everywhere. Basically, it's not just the Tea Party that is racist. Like, racists can be in the Democratic Party, in the far left. They can be everywhere. And then she uses this opportunity. This is like them flirting on the stand, because why are you part of the Tea Party? Like, why did you? And I was hoping that this is to put pressure on the government to reduce spending. Oh, that's really interesting. Why did it form when Obama started and not like when George W. Bush was president? And this is trying to bait him into saying something bad about George W. Bush on the stand. Mm-hmm. Like, this has nothing to do with the case, but there is just this part of Diane that really, she loves this man so much. She cannot stand that he is a Republican, that he just wants to say something bad about George W. Bush. And his response is, there was hope that W would cut out some spending.
Dan's really? That's what you thought? So basically Diane's laughing at him on the stand. And this is Diane and Kurt's way of flirting, creating sexual tension.
Like,
yeah.
That's what this is.
By talking politics.
Yeah. Because, and then 2 seconds later, Diane's, I think that went well, like on the stand, I think. And Kurt is, I don't care. Like, just Kurt's get over here.
Kurt is turned on by all the political talk. He's, get over here, girl. Let me lay one on you.
And then outside the door, Will's knocking on the door. And she's like, go away. Don't worry about it. And Will goes to Alicia. Is she like distracted? Has she lost focus? No, she's fighting harder. Which then, okay, in my mind, did Will go home?
Somebody's getting harder. Let me say that. Somebody's getting harder.
Did Will go home and like write in his diary, if Diane Lockhart can focus more while being in love with Kurt McVeigh, maybe Alicia and I can be in love and we won't get distracted. I just wonder if he took that little nugget and ran with it.
I love how he knocks it nice. Go the hell away. I'm busy. Getting busy.
It was, yeah.
What y'all doing in there?
Carrie calls.
Of all places?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Carrie calls Kalinda and says, hey, so like a month before the shooting, there was like this attempted suicide and I don't mean to laugh at that part, but hey, like, P.S. by the way, we forgot to tell you this like really important piece of information. And the whole thing was The robber shot at the cop, hoping that the cop would shoot him back. It was an intentional right of defense type of thing. During this time, Kalinda gets another call and she's like, hey, if you leave a number, I'll call you back. But this is where Carrie is basically telling Kalinda, like, the 9mm shell that McVeigh found is from this situation, not from the Beltran situation. Kurt was never told this. Do with that what you may.
Yeah. And I guess what we're supposed to assume from this is that the shell that Kurt found did match the trajectory and all that from Beltran, but he doesn't know that shell he found was from that attempted suicide by cop. So Kurt was working with the information that he had.
Right.
And with the information he had, he came to a conclusion. It's just parts of the conclusion were invalid because of information he didn't have. So it's a roundabout way to say that Kurt was wrong, but he wasn't like really wrong.
He didn't have the right, like, he made a cake, but he didn't have all of the ingredients to make the cake. Like, it was still a cake.
Yeah.
But it was just a little off.
He still made a cake. It just tastes a little funny.
Yeah. Yeah. So Diane goes to visit Kurt and says, okay, we found your mistake. Meanwhile, there was, like, I don't know what else happened, but it was at the barn, so I can only assume other things happened. I don't know. He signed the retainer. Anywho, Kalinda is asking for the original file because she's noticing she's going through this digital file of the footage of the robbery, and it's dropping a frame because it's a digital file. When you compress things, it'll drop a frame. Calls Carrie, says, hey, can we have the analog file because I want to see the whole thing. When she does, she finds that the bullet ricocheted off a truck.
Only the way Kalinda can, right? Because Kalinda is one of the only people that will go through this tape and see things that no one else will. Because I have trouble seeing it as she's just explaining it.
This is where my confusion. I was like, what did we just figure out? What's going on?
It's like at one moment there's a spot on the truck, and then the next moment there isn't, or there isn't before, and then there is the next moment, which I guess is supposed to be that's the moment the bullet hit the truck, and that's what the spot is. So I was like, okay, so I guess that's where the bullet would have hit the truck. That little spot I see, I guess that's it. They don't do a great way of visually explaining what we're looking at.
And that is the bullet from
that hit the cop.
Hit the cop, not the one that was in the situation before.
I guess either the bullet ricocheted off the truck and hit the cop, which that meant it would have gone the opposite way of the way that the bullet was found, or it went through the cop, then hit the truck and ricocheted and just bounced off.
I think that's it. Because I was like, are we proving that Beltran didn't do it by saying it ricocheted off?
Right. So he still did it. Like, we still prove he did it, but because we didn't know the truck was there to have the bullet ricochet off of, the shell casing would have landed in an opposite spot.
Yes. Yeah.
Or the bullet fragment would have landed in a different spot than if the truck wasn't there. Yeah. Makes sense, I think.
Well, Diane goes to tell Kurt this, and Kurt's like, when all this is over, let's go away. And I just love how he says next, Costa Rica. I like it. He's so excited about it. I like it. And he like keeps going. He's, hey, I want to build a life with you and do all this stuff and put our lives first. And Diane's like, I can't go. I got to stay with work. I got this fight coming up. And then he asks again, and she says, is this a proposal? And no one but Gary Cole could do this. If it sounds better than a proposal, it's a proposal. I don't know what to tell you. Yeah. This is what I want. And I, again, swoon, like this, I did swoon. I was like, this is a line. This would have got me. This was good.
It just seems like Kurt, and to borrow a phrase from the Fast and Furious franchise, lives his life a quarter mile at a time. Like, he doesn't, he's not a long-term planner. He just goes with the flow. He picks cases when he wants to pick cases. He does whatever he wants. He's not a big like planner guy. So he's just like, hey, let's go pick up our stuff. Let's go to Costa Rica. Let's ditch this life. And Diane's like, nah, son, I got a life here. I got stuff to do. I got a fight to fight. So I can't really do the whole just pick up my stuff and go thing with you. And he's like, oh, damn, like, all right, bro. Like, the Kurt life is the kind of life you want to lead when you're older, because Kurt seems like he's got plenty of money. Like, he doesn't need a job. He's just, I can do whatever I want, whenever I want it. Want to go to Costa Rica tomorrow? I'll go to Costa Rica tomorrow. But Diane is trained to this law firm because she's got a lot of stuff to do.
Well, there's a lot going on. But it was just so, if it sounds better than a proposal, then it's a proposal. I was like, oh, Kurt. Okay, Back on the stand, we have our friend, the ballistic expert, which the only is basically, as you put it before, the bullshit that Kurt has is like is there, and he's telling the whole story. He's like 5 out of 500 bullets, like really dramatically. And this is where you can see like Jerry Stiller is awake. He is ready. He is like there. He's in the story. He's all dedicated. But Kurt was able to figure out that it was a 9mm. It just was the wrong one. This is the one that we found in the drywall. It was covered in plastic. Here it is. And then he explains to the jury and to Kurt, when I get passionate, my accent comes out more. And I just love, it's all white people in the jury. And they're all like, oh, yeah, that makes sense.
So
yeah,
fascinated.
So great. Oh.
You can just see Kurt nodding to the guys. Okay, I respect you now. Like I see your hustle. I see where you're coming from. Like you're okay in my book now. So he's like, when you get the Kurt nod, you got his respect. That's the way of showing him respect. Like, good job. Good work.
Then Diane is not done. Okay, we are outside the courtroom in the courthouse. Basically, she's telling him, Tommy, you're going to drop this case. And he's like, you keep going, I will make it my life's work that you do not profit off of the situation. Beltran is guilty, and you're trying to milk this for everything that you can. And Tommy's like, this is not the Diane that I know. She's like, you're right about that. Nice to meet you.
Damn, bro. This is like a wildcat Diane. She's coming out like she's out for blood. She's like, you don't come after my Curdy poo and think you can get away with it, because listen, through all this whole Beltran stuff, oh, he was wrongfully imprisoned, there was falsified evidence. Nah, this guy did it. This guy killed the cop. And Diane's like, you are lucky that this guy is out free right now, because he actually killed this man. So don't push your luck, or else I will have the cops knocking on his door. I was like, dang, got him. And she's like, deuces, son. And she walks away from the dude. And Kurt just follows behind her. You heard her. Like, I'm gonna go find my girl.
The whole time he's like, oh my God, I love you so much. This is so great. Keep going. So he tries to sweep her away one last time. And Diane's, no, I can't do it. I've got things to do here. And before Kurt leaves, he turns and looks at her and says, you're my hero.
No.
So good. I live for them. They're so good.
Yes. So good.
So that was
I hope it's not another half. Yeah, I hope it's not another half season before we see Kurt again.
Agreed. Agreed. As impressed and as fun as Diane's confidence was for us, there was someone who was not happy about this confidence, and his name is Derek Bond. He was like, yo, Diane is getting a little too bravado here. She's taking a little too many big swings. So he runs over to Will and is like, hey, like, this is what's going on. And Will, I noticed this, and I don't know if you noticed this, but Will and Diane have the same laugh.
Really clocked that. That's interesting, because
just keep an ear out for it, because I'm surrounded by paranoid people. Like,
and in this moment, right? Because Bond is surprised. Bond is threatened by a strong woman, and that Diane is, as she's commandeering this meeting she's in that we saw at the beginning of the episode. That freaks Bond the F out. Bond's, yo, get your girl, because something's happening. She thinks she's got this thing tied up. I think something's going down. He talks about the fact that he fired that guy that was a vote for him. He's, I think I made a mistake. I think I fired that guy, because if you weren't with us last time, we talked about the fact that Will, Diane, David Lee, and all these people used Bond's email tracking software against him and made him like fire someone that was actually a vote for him. So he's clocked that. He's like, you know what? I think I'm going to hire them back, because they were a vote for me. I'm not sure why I fired them. Why did I fire them? And Will, now probably panicking a little bit, is just, oh crap, like he is onto us. He's like, no way, man. You're paranoid. I don't know what you're talking about, silly goose. No, it's fine. And Will's like, listen, there's nothing to worry about. I calmed the waters, right? You want me to calm the waters? I calmed the waters. Everything's fine. Relax. She's doing what she would do as a invested equity partner. It's all good. Relax.
And then 2 seconds later, when he sees Kurt walk in, he's, listen, Derek's onto us, and you need to show up. You need to shut it down. Otherwise, not here. We do find out at the end of the episode, just to keep on the firm talk of things, that there is going to be an equity partner meeting next week. Diane is ready to go. I'm pretty sure Will is ready to go. Should be quite the battle to see. I don't know if that's like next week for us or next week for the show.
Yeah, who knows?
So we'll have to see what that next week means. But the fight is a brewing.
That's the big battle at the war of who's going to get the firm. And I don't think everyone else doesn't think the other person knows what's coming. They're like, I'm going to get them when at this meeting. They don't even have any idea. But no, everyone has the idea of what's going on here. Everyone's ready for battle, ready for war.
Yes. Now it's time to talk about the campaign, and we got introduced to another great character, if I do say so myself, by the name of Marissa with 2 S's.
Yeah, not because I share a name with you or anything. That's not the only reason you love Marissa.
It's not, but it kind of is, because when I was a kid, I couldn't find anything with my name on it, like license plates, pencils, like any of those things. I couldn't find anything with my name on it. So when there was like a Marissa, and then I learned that she spelled her name with 2 S's like me, I was like, oh my God. It's like the best thing. It's the keychain of life. But Marissa is Eli's daughter. We were introduced to her via wiretapping at one point, and she wants to go live in a kibbutz in Israel. Gotta say, this part didn't really age very well, this whole conversation here. Guys, no, I don't want you to get blown up by a Palestinian. Okay? Not great. Not great. Nice. Marissa's just calling him out. It's a kibbutz. I'm going to be in the middle of nowhere. You're so hypocritical. You're the one telling me to get into my religion. And he's, yeah, but that I'm a parent. I'm supposed to be hypothetical or hypocritical.
Hey, listen, this episode in particular was like really called out some things in parenting, which is especially parenting of a like teenager, which is very interesting because it's true. As an adult parent, you are a very hypocritical person because you did stuff when you were a teen that just like your teen not to do, and you're like, I'm not supposed to tell you that I did the stuff, but I don't want you to do the stuff I did, because now at a big age I realize that was a wrong ass thing to do. So you're not allowed to do it, but I did it. So it is a very hypocritical like mindset, but you got to embrace it a little bit sometimes.
Yeah. We're all human, and then it happens. So they're supposed to have dinner on Thursday, Eli and Marissa. So Marissa leaves, and Marissa's like, "Oh, you're so happy. Are you seeing someone?" And he's like, "Yeah, my pollster." And then there's this like gross exchange with Jeremy Strong before Marissa leaves. He's like, "I'm the pollster." She's, "I'm the daughter." Yeah. And Eli's, "She's 18. Don't even go there."
That was not great. I was like, this guy's supposed to be a creep or something? This is going to be a different storyline down the line. Yeah. That was weird to me.
Yeah, this entire opening thing did not age well, specifically. Yeah. A lot of things. I was like, oh, Eli, no, don't know. Oh, okay. So the pollster walks in and he's, "Listen, I got the silver bullet. Hey, Wendy Scott Carr had a nanny, and this nanny was undocumented, and her name is Natalie Flores." And Eli is like, "Oh my gosh, this is so great. I'm just gonna go like talk to her and finish the vetting."
So,
so excited. And I forget the pollster's name already, but Jeremy Strong, dude, is, "Hey, you might want to talk to Alicia about this because it has to do with like motherhood and stuff." And so they're like gonna go to her. And so Eli does visit Alicia at work. Alicia's on like cloud nine. She's, "I'm so good at my job." Like, well, this is so great. Because
Diane told her in that meeting that they had at the beginning, they was like, "Hey, you're doing a great job. So you need to do this and this." And Alicia's just like, "Diane just told me I did a great job." And she's like raising the roof. "Yeah, I'm good at my job, baby. Let's go." Even an Eli visit is not going to ruin my day.
Yeah, exactly. So he's there to warn Alicia, "Hey, the press may come for you." It's just like, it's like, you were a stay-at-home mom and Wendy wasn't. And so they're going to want to know what your thoughts are on the fact that she had an undocumented nanny working for her.
The words that Eli uses, "she had a illegal alien."
I know. I can't bring myself to say them.
Yeah, it's so interesting, the word choices we were using for so long, which, as we will refer to her from now on, is undocumented. It's like quite a timestamp. It's an illegal alien. Like,
yeah, for sure. Yeah. Like, and I do applaud, because in the next scene, Eli does meet Natalie, and we see that it is none other than America Ferrera, who is from a lot of things: Sisterhood of Traveling Pants, the Barbie movie, Ugly Betty. But she's always been really good about choosing roles that are real for Latino women, like people who, like, she's really good at this. And so in this situation, she is playing a econ student who is also a nanny, as aforementioned, also undocumented. But Eli walks in. Oh, hello, Natalie.
Is smitten right away. Listen, it's America Ferrera. Like,
yeah,
it's hard. Wouldn't it be hard not to be smitten with America Ferrera? But yeah, he's automatically like in, because not only is she like, America Ferrera, beautiful, but she's also like hard at work at some econ project. She's showing her smarts. She's showing her like determination. I think that as much as anything gets Eli's motor running.
Yeah, he's like, ooh, econ. I was an econ major. And he tells Natalie, I have 2 kids, Peter and Alicia. How true is that? So good.
So good. So funny.
And I'm interested in your nanny services for them and also tutoring. And she's okay, cool. I've been with the same family for 5 years, but also my parents came here when I was 2, and all I've ever known is America, but I don't have, like, I'm not a citizen. I don't have my papers. So here's my lawyer's number. Like, go ahead and call.
Get it? All I've ever known is America. Yeah. And her real name is America. Oh my gosh. We know what else I thought was fascinating?
Yes.
the fact that apparently Victoria Adler referred her to Eli. But I was like, why would Victoria Adler refer her? Because Eli and Victoria should be enemies, right? Because Eli is the person that got Victoria off of the state's attorney race.
Well, and is the one who introduced Wendy Scott Carr, like announcing her thing. Yeah.
I was like, why would she be helping our people out? I was confused at that.
Yeah. Unless it was, well, and then also like Victoria's, you can talk to him.
Yeah, you can talk to him about being undocumented. It's fine.
No, I did like to move. Yeah, agreed. But like, I was also an econ major. And she's, what do you do now? Party planning. That's where I'm at.
Oh my goodness.
It was very fun. So Eli does call the lawyer, checks in on there, but he is like really struggling because he's getting this pressure from Jeremy Strong basically to say, we got to move forward with this. And he's, but she'll get deported. Like, these are real people. Good. Yeah. And okay, again, I know I say this all the time, and I know I said this earlier, but this is like really relevant right now. Like, people are being deported in droves and also being sent to whatever kind of camps you want to call them. So this is real life for a lot of people, and was a real life thing for Natalie. And I think I love how Eli is like really struggling in the situation. Oh, I just put this together. I don't know if this is real.
Uh-oh. What you got?
Okay, I might cut this out, but I just got to get this out of my head. At the beginning of the episode, Eli says to Marissa, you cannot go because I'm afraid your life is in danger by the Palestinians. I'm an Israeli. I'm Jewish and I'm Israeli, and Israeli people are not Israeli. Zionist people are the people who are not great to the Palestinians. Is his wanting to help Natalie also an example of him being a hypocrite because of his stance on Israel and Palestine versus his stance on like Natalie staying in the United States? And now, see, it could be a stretch. It could be rewriting the show.
I think you're writing the show. I think most of Eli's motivation in not wanting to get Natalie deported is because he likes Natalie. I think that is a big part of his motivation here to not expose Natalie. I met this lady. First of all, she's hot. She's smart. So I want to date her. So maybe I don't want to deport her.
A larger statement on the geopolitical landscape of the world. It could be.
So I think most of it is because Eli wants to date her.
I think you're right.
Hard to date her if she's deported. So that's, I think, where a lot of his confidence comes.
Well, and also like really the hypocritical, the hypocritical point of I don't care if she's deported until I have feels for her.
Yeah. Before he met Natalie, he was like, deport her. Like, let's get her out of here. I don't care. And then he meets her. He's like, oh, wait. There are undocumented people that are beautiful. Like what?
What?
There are people, undocumented person I want to date. Oh, we can't deport her now. What are you crazy? So that was interesting.
All right. Okay, fine. I will write that college essay at some point. But basically, Jeremy Strong is, look, we got to do something here because the polls now are showing sympathy for the nanny. Oh my gosh, this is not great. Unless we can find out if Natalie was fired because of the campaign, then this makes Wendy look really bad. It's never the crime. It's always the cover up that, at least in polling, that really gets people. At least it was in 2011. A lot changed.
Yeah, truly. And when the pollster comes, there are people showing sympathy for Wendy Scott Carr now that she needed a nanny, and Eli's like, oh, guess I can't use it. Oh, and then Jeremy Strong's like, no, we can still use it. We just got to make sure that we got to see if she was fired for political reasons. Then we can make Wendy look bad.
And he like, we need to go talk to her again. Oh, okay. I guess I'll go.
I guess I'll do it. Dirty job. Someone's got to do it.
He goes, he talks to Natalie. Natalie's, listen, I got to talk to you. What the heck is this? What is even happening? You called my lawyer. What was going to take a year is now going to take 2 months. This is insane. Also, you're way older than me. There are vibes here. What is happening? I had a French Canadian contortionist boyfriend and like all of this stuff. And this is how you know like Eli is like flirty, because he gets a call from Marissa who's canceling on dinner for Thursday. And then he's, oh, like I have these plans that just got canceled and I can't really, he tries to do like a contortionist move. And I was like, oh, Eli, oh, you are trying so hard.
It's so funny because you never seen Eli in this mode, in this flirting mode, and it's a little cringy. Like it's a tad cringe to see Eli flirting, but it's also very funny. And I love that he's trying to do the whole contortion thing, and you can see Natalie also falling for it. She's like giving him the smile, and so yeah, I remembered that this was a plot point in the series because seeing seeing America Ferrera was not a surprise to me. Like some things are, I was like, oh yeah, America Ferrera storyline. I remember this, and this will not be her last appearance on the show. I'll tell you that much. But yeah, this is a very cute meet cute, if you want to call it that.
Yeah, agreed. Unlike this next meeting where they were out to dinner, like she does take him up on it, goes, dresses up, like she's looking good. He's excited to be there. He's talking. She says, you talk like the newspaper. Yep, totally.
Which he does.
Yep.
True.
And then all of a sudden Marissa shows up. What? My plans changed. I'm showing up. And Eli's cool. Great.
Nothing like a teenage daughter cockblock to really ruin your night.
Also, he's, hi, I'm young. I'm very young. How young are you? Like, what is going on here? Mm-hmm. And I love when Marissa, she's like, oh, I am so going to Israel. There's nothing you can do here. I am going. And okay, I'm going to leave now. Don't forget to use protection, Dad. Bye. Like, which is just so true to Marissa's character. Like the fact that she said that this early in her showing up here is that you know that they really thought her character out before that. She doesn't change. Like she's very blunt the whole time. So Natalie, is that your 6-year-old that you wanted me to watch? Mm-hmm. And if you're not what is going on here? If you're not into party planning, why would you like pressure my lawyer? I just thought you were being wronged and everything. But at the end, I like the idea of you being a party planner. And she gets up to leave and you don't have to go. Just, yeah, I do.
But I also like the fact that Natalie had also researched Eli before this thing and knew that Eli was part of Flora's campaign and that was the reason he was talking to her. It shows that she's not some just person to be let along. She did the work and she already knew what Eli was up to before.
When she dressed up,
it was revealed. Yeah.
To get there, she knew it was going down.
Yes, 100%. So I like that they included that in her character.
Agreed. Then comes like the cringiest part of politics that could ever, like, I hate it so much. So news breaks that this was the situation and Wendy Scott Carr had a nanny who was undocumented, and it's even worse because she took her friend's social security number to get into school. And so like the news breaks, and the moment the news breaks, the entire office is like cheering. Jeremy Strong wants to get like, he's got popcorn, he wants to get champagne, all this stuff. And Eli is super bummed, but I just was like, you guys, really, popcorn and champagne like this? And they show like this woman's life is now like she's being hounded by the media. She can't really go anywhere. And who knows what happened with her enrollment at school? Like her life she could be deported. Who knows at this point? Yeah.
I was like, yay, we got someone deported. Woo.
So that was what was going on with the campaign. And then we just have a little update on quote unquote the family, but it's mainly Grace. So Grace calls Alicia at the beginning of the episode. It's, Mom, I need a t-shirt because I can't wear my t-shirt. And Alicia's okay, fine, I'll bring you one, but also I'm going to fight for your rights because what the heck is this? Dress codes are like First Amendment right issues. And the principal is just saying, hey, it's not the shirt, it's what the shirt says. Like the shirt can't say words anymore because what Grace is wearing is a shirt that says, I am the mustard seed. And apparently at the school, there were people that were wearing pro-gay shirts, Jason.
What? Oh my God.
Pro-gay. Not
pro-gay.
I don't even know like what that would be. That isn't a regular anyway. Like unless it's just like like it was something for pride. I don't like there's like a shirt that says like pro-gay. You know what I mean? Like,
for the gays.
Yeah.
I love gays.
There could be. Yeah, that could be. Like that could be. But
big gay fan.
Li. Yeah, so this principal's like super overwhelmed because apparently everyone's threatening to sue in the situation, and she starts crying.
The principal like breaks down in front of Alicia. Alicia's, whoa, okay, because Alicia is ready to come at this like full force. She's like, you cannot violate my daughter's First Amendment rights. Grace outside the office, like listening to her mom dress down the principal. She's like, yeah, get her, mom.
So she's so, oh my God, my mom's so amazing. Like the law is great, and also Jesus, like so many things. So yeah, and Alicia's also like worried and also over it. She's like, can't you just go to school and get an education, Grace? What the heck is going on here? And I know you want a cause, but this isn't your cause. And I love the line that she says next because it is very true even today. Grace says, yeah, but why? Like, why can't this be my cause? Because Christians are not in danger of being a minority class, Grace. This is the reason why. This is what a cause is. A cause is helping a minority class. This is not, Christians are not that.
I love that she shuts her daughter down with legalese. I love that. Christians are not a minority because Grace is, but what if it was a Martin Luther King Jr. shirt? And at least, what are you talking about? What Martin Luther King Jr. shirt? There's no Martin Luther King Jr. shirt. You're just making this about of thin air. And it's like this whole Grace Alicia interaction for this part of all the episodes felt so real. And because like when you have a teenager and they think they are older than they are, they think they know more than you for some reason because they think as a teenager they know the world, they know what to do. This all felt so real because Grace is like trying to find something to do, trying to find a cause to go behind. She's basically copying off of her friend to be like, oh, like my friend talked about this Jesus thing, I guess I'll talk about that. And for Alicia to so many times call Grace out in the episode and be like, do you really want to do this cause, or is this just like a thing you're into because you want to do something?
Because like, of Shannon.
Like, yeah, like what is the motivation here? And as we'll see later, like Grace is questioned and doesn't really have great answers. So I love that part of this episode where it's like a real parenting thing. But yeah, that was so righteous, so good.
Grace goes home. She watches Christian YouTube. I gotta tell you, this was rough. Oh. This was rough because like I listened to it with like as open of a mind as I could, and I'm like, some of the stuff is right. Like Jesus is a rebel. Like if you read the Bible, he like flipped tables at temples. He was there to disrupt. He was there to do things, but he also was not here to cause anarchy, and also was not here to draw a sword, and also like the production of it all, like it really does, I think, was good commentary on YouTube at that time. Like there was definitely like some kids saying some stuff about.
I love the music that was under it, which is like very, I don't know if anyone else, like very POD. Like POD was a band back in the day where I listened to POD and I didn't even realize it was like a Christian group. I just liked the songs. I did not parallel them to Jesus or God. I didn't realize that was what it was until much later in life. And that was the vibe of the music that was under this guy's YouTube video. And to look at, 2011, and see the type of things that were going on YouTube. And it's just gotten so much more worse now. Like there are so many, as a father of a teen, it's just, there's so many harmful things out there on YouTube, on social media, that your kids will start thinking and start getting into their brains and really affecting them. It really, as someone that when I was the age of Grace, right? Grace is like 15, 16. There was no YouTube. There was no a lot of influence to really get in your mind. There was like TV, and the internet was just becoming
MTV.
A thing.
There was MTV. That was like the biggest thing.
So there wasn't this just unlimited treasure trove of opinions, whether they be good or bad, whether they align with you and your family values or not. And so for children to be like unchecked online is a dangerous thing. Trust me when I tell you. Like, it is a crazy thing nowadays. So that I thought it was a very interesting and very compelling thing to think about in this day and age, to see how that's changed from then, from when I was a kid to when Grace is in this situation, and to now, was a very like fascinating thing to watch.
And this like clip has everything that we see now, but on steroids. Like, there is truth mixed in with danger, and then also like they tie in global warming. Like, so this is how propaganda happens. This is the thing. There's 80-20 truth, right? And then they buy trust, and then they scale it back to 70-30, and then it's all this other stuff. And so Grace is there just, oh my gosh, tell me more. I am the mother. I'm here for you. And and it also is, be mad at your mom. And she's okay, I will.
Yeah, and it doesn't hurt that the vessel giving this kind of opinion comes from a teenage boy that probably Grace thinks is cute, right? That doesn't hurt at all. That's the way this information is being brought to her. So this all kind of permeates her mind and her thinking, and really leads her into these discussions with Alicia later down the line.
Like when she comes home from work and just stops Alicia at the door and says, "Why do you hate Jesus?"
The many times, the times that has happened to me, not the you hate Jesus thing, but the many times you come home and your teenager just has some nonsense ready for you. It's like, bruh, I just got home. Is this the time for this? It was so true to life.
Oh, great. Like, Grace is all fired up from this show, because like the video was like basically like Jesus wants you to question your parents, like question all these people, which again is how these things start. So she's okay, fine, I'm gonna question my parents. Why do you hate Jesus? And then Alicia's like, okay, let me get some wine. Why do you need wine to discuss this? You lecture me about drugs all the time. Wine is a drug. And then Alicia's just like, oh yeah, chug. Like,
let me take another hit off the crack pipe. It's something she says.
Yeah, she just say that.
Wine. So funny, so good, man. I loved how Alicia handled this. I really did.
It was really like, and you could tell just by what Grace was saying after that. She was really mimicking after what she saw on the video, because she's, I think global warming is real. It's the first rebel, and I'm a thinking person. Like, I have thoughts. It's not just about Shannon. It's me. I think. And she does at one point say, like, I am curious about Jesus. I would like to know more about that. Is like a sane, rational, okay, fine, I can help you with this. This is something we can do together. To which Alicia says, like, when you figure out like what you believe in, come talk to me and I will help you. But until then, I don't know how to help you. I don't know. I don't know what to do.
Yeah. It's tough to really get these teens thinking in logical terms, because yes, they do mimic a lot of what they see, and they mimic without understanding. And I think that's what Alicia's asking Grace to do. Come back with some real understanding, and we'll talk about where we are, like, and what I can do for you. Because as Alicia says, she's willing to do stuff. Grace needs to actually figure out what she wants, because all this talking you're doing, kind of vomiting words at me, is not really anything of real substance. Get substance and we'll talk. Like, I just love, like,
yeah, it's like global warming, Jesus, rebels all over the place.
Yeah, and I love, like, when you said Grace is like, why do you hate Jesus? And Alicia's like, I don't hate Jesus. Was like some guy 20,000 years ago and has nothing to do with me. So I don't know what you're talking about. I don't hate him. I'm not about it. And for Grace to come at her with, like, and I think even when at one point she's like, no, this is later when Alicia's talking about she doesn't understand why it makes her uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like it's such a true, like, interaction of some teens and some parents. Like, I know from personal experience, this is something that happens.
I know. I remember when I was a teenager, my parents would definitely have said something to me along the lines of, then Jesus can pay the rent.
Yeah, exactly. Like, most of us that are listening, if you are above teenager age listening to this, you have been a teenager, and looking back on your teenage experience and what it was like, you're probably something like this too. Like, you probably said some dumb shit that when you think about now, you're like, that was real dumb. Why did I say it to my parents? And, like, I tell my teenager that all the time. I'm like, listen, I know you think that what you're saying right now is on it, but trust me when I tell you, it's not. Later, you're gonna realize that. You're gonna realize that. I know you can't realize it now. That's a frustrating part of parenting. I know that you think you're talking truth right now, but you will realize later down the line, you'll look back at this and say, why did I say that? Because I know as a teenager, I said some dumb stuff to my mom, and she was like, really? Like, so we've all been through it, and it's just it's when you're teenagers in that phase, you're just like, oh, it was a thing you just gotta get through. And it's like I said, all Alicia stuff was like, right on, girl. I feel you. Sometimes Alicia's parenting, I'm like questioning. I'm like, I don't know. This was all I was all for this episode.
It was, yes. Well, and when I was a teenager, my mom and I weren't very close. So I was like, oh, this little, I see this. I would say things to antagonize my mom. Just Grace is doing. So Alicia goes in at the end of the episode, goes into Grace and says, okay, what do you want? What do you want from me? I want to support you in this. This is like you were saying earlier. This makes me very uncomfortable. I don't know why it does, but it does. I'm like, Alicia, I know why it does. It's because like Christianity is being weaponized and turning people. This is what's happening. Like, this is not true. It's not true to the source. So Grace is, it's because of your generation. What does that even mean?
Boy, it's because you're old. You don't understand. My eyes roll back so far in my head because it's the same. It's a cyclical experience, right? When you're a teenager, you're like, you're just old. You don't understand. And then when you're a teenager, says the same thing to you. You're like, damn, like it's being used against me now. Like I said this when I was younger, and now it's being said to me. Like I've become the old person that does not understand, because it's a thing that happens in every generation. We've accused a generation over us of being old. You don't understand because you are an older person. No, when I was your age, I said the same damn thing. It's nothing new. Nothing new is happening. Yes, we have new technologies, we have new this, that, we have new situations, but none of this is new. We deal with the same things, just in different ways, in different eras. So when she said that, I was like, oh my God, yeah, I've heard that. I've heard that before in my home. Oh my God, this is so true.
I do like that Alicia's like, this makes me uncomfortable. I don't understand it. But if you want to go to church, like I'll drop you off. Like I'll go with you. Like I'll support you. Also, like one key factor here. Would you like to read a primary? I don't even want to say primary source because there's a lot in terms of how the Bible was put together. Like it is also a piece of propaganda. However, it's like the closest to the source that you can get in the situation. It's like YouTube or the Bible. Which one is more true? Mm-hmm. Probably the Bible. And Grace looks at it and she's, that's a big
She's basically like the Bible is not as fun as a YouTube video of a hot young man telling you what you should be thinking. And so I like how Alicia calls Grace's bluff. She's, oh yeah, you want to talk about so much about religion and all this? Alicia's okay, so what church you want to go to? And Grace is like,
I don't know.
I don't know. I haven't looked into it. Yeah, of course. You came at this with no information, with no plan. You just came at me with some nonsense. And now that I've asked you about it, you don't know what you want to do. And she hands the Bible, and Grace, this is such a big book. Like, I got to read all this. Yeah, that's part of it. So you want to do it? That's what you're going to have to do. I love how she just, like I said, called her bluff. You want to do this? This is what you're going to have to do. Go to, like, bruh, go to church. See how much fun that is to go to church. And then maybe you won't want to do all this religion stuff.
Or you can become a Catholic where they really don't like they wouldn't let people read the Bible. They would just say, come to church and we'll read you the Bible. Yeah. And so there's a way out of it, Grace, but I don't think Grace understands width and the depth of the Christian religion and like where she fits in it. She wants to rebel and she has found her thing. Unfortunately, this is the thing she's latched onto. It could have been human rights. It could have been global warming, Grace. You could have been Greta Thunberg. You could have bbeen Greta. But
yeah, like she's seeing the parts of religion that are appealing to a teenager, right? The YouTube thing, all that rhetoric, but she hasn't gone through. Listen, I remember being a teenager singing in church. That wasn't fun.
Me too.
Yeah, that's not fun, Grace. Like
for church, it was also like it was a social place to be. Like there's things to do and people to meet, and that's part of it. So I can see why it is attractive, but at the same time, I think what is so you can just really see how Christianity is being weaponized, even like here in this one little YouTube clip, in this one little conversation. Do you even know what I am the mustard seed means, Grace? Did you look it up? And this, I have to tell you, and our listeners, like this storyline, this like entrenchment into like this, all of this talk of Christianity never was my favorite part of the show. Like, I get it's very important, like I get it, but it was hard to watch on TV while we were also still are living in the weaponization of it at the same time. Because I went to church, I came out thinking, feed the poor, give someone a coat off my back, do all this stuff. And that is not necessarily the message that other people got with much larger microphones. And the disconnect between those things is personally very hard for me to talk about sometimes. So if that's where a lot of my energy is coming from, I just wanted people to be like, why is Marissa like so about this? Just because it's just really hard.
Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah. Good to know about our Marissa. That's where she's coming from.
People to know. You just gotta tell the peeps.
We got you. All right. That was a very compelling, fascinating, great episode of the show.
Okay, I would say also, if you're listening, like, effort is also very well appreciated.
Llama 9342, I hope you're happy with our efforts to cut down on the I word this episode. Were we perfect? Maybe not. I hope you appreciate the effort.
But we were better than last time. You know, improvement.
I hope you adjust that rating to a 5-star, Llama. Anyway, that was the episode. Love when we focus on Diane.
Yes.
Bunch of fun.
Especially when Kurt is there.
Oh, especially when Kurt's there, because it was getting hot and heavy. Yeah. Marissa, can you tell the good people out there in good podland where to find you and all of your musings and your nerdity and all that good stuff?
My nerdy musings can be found at marissag.com, because that's where I'm putting links to all of the things that I may be.
It's me, Marissa.
It's me, Marissa G. Okay, let's try that again. You can find all of my nerdy musings on itsmemarissag.com, where I'm putting links to all of the stuff and things that I am talking about. I am in the process of putting together, I think I'm going to do a workshop on podcasting, Jason. I think I'm going to try. That should be posted there sometime soon. So check that out. Also join my mailing list if you want to just get updates on the podcasts that we release, on any of my other projects, or just like stuff about creativity. That's where I'm at. That's www.itsmemarissag.com. Jason, what about you?
You can find me on Blue Sky at JR33D. You can also find me podcasting about the show Married at First Sight over on the Perfect Match podcast. We are having a blast over there. By the time you're listening to this, there's some Love is Blind coverage out there for you as well that's coming out. So it's a busy time for you, boy. And there's also somewhere in the world some Cobra Kai coverage from Marissa and I. Either on this, it might be on this feed, it might be on another feed, but it's out there.
It'll be somewhere. Yeah, we gotta close that chapter. It's the last section of the last season of the show that brought Jason and I together in podcasting land. So we got to see it to the end. And also, we watched all the TV. We got to see how it goes.
That's right. So it's out there somewhere. So go find it, folks. Until next time, stay good.